In this episode, we're going to be diving into the tempo and pitch settings in VirtualDJ. These settings control how your jog wheel behaves, how your music sounds when changing BPM, and even how far your pitch fader can move. Some of these settings are obviously essential, while others depend entirely on your DJ style. So let's break them down. With vinyl mode on, touching the top of the platter behaves like if you were touching a vinyl record. The music stops while you hold it. It allows you to scratch, backspin, or manually cue the track. With vinyl mode off, touching the top of the jog wheel won't stop the music. Instead, the jog wheel acts as a pitch bend control that allows you to nudge the track forward and backward while it continues playing. So let's show you how that works. For the demonstration, I'm going to turn vinyl mode off. Now I'm going to press play. Now while the song is playing, I'm going to touch the top of my jog wheel here on my controller. I'm spinning it right now. My hand is going back and forth on the jog wheel on my controller. And as you can see, the song just keeps playing. It doesn't stop the music. It really doesn't do anything. All right, so I'm going to hop back in the settings. I'm going to go down to vinyl mode. I'm going to click yes. And now I'm going to start playing the track, and you're going to notice that it's going to start and stop. There we go, going back and forth with my hand. It allows me to scratch, just like it would if it were a real vinyl record. All right, so my recommendation is to just leave it on vinyl mode. If you're into scratching, definitely make sure that you have this enabled. If you're using CDJs, you'll probably want to enable too. If you never plan on scratching, then maybe you can get away with leaving it on no. I always leave mine on because it really gives me control over my tracks as I'm trying to beat match. All right, the next option is master tempo. So master tempo is going to lock the musical key of the song while changing tempo. And this is one of the most important settings in VirtualDJ. So normally when you speed up a song, everything else gets higher in pitch. And when you slow it down, everything gets lower in pitch, which is exactly like speeding up or slowing down on an old vinyl record. So let's show you guys a demonstration. I'm going to have master tempo turned off, and then I'm going to start playing a song. And when the song is playing, I'm going to adjust the pitch slider right here. And it's going to change the tempo of the song. And you're going to notice that it also changes the key.
I can't wait for the weekend to begin.
All right, and now I'm going to turn the master tempo back on. And you're going to notice that when I do that, it's going to allow the song to speed up and slow down without changing the pitch or the key of the song. So I'm going to play the song again, and I'm going to move the pitch slider up and down this time, and you'll notice the difference.
I can't wait for the weekend to begin. For the weekend to begin. 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 Begin.
All right, so hopefully you notice how the song keeps the same key signature, and it locks the key or pitch of the song so that as you speed it up or slow it down, it doesn't sound all too different. So why does this matter? As DJs, we constantly adjust the tempo of songs in order to make transitions smoother. So without master tempo on, every transition changes the key of the song, and it can sound a little weird. So my suggestion is to make sure that you always have master tempo set to on. And you'll see it right here. It says MT on each deck, master tempo. If I turn it off, it's not highlighted. I turn it on, it's highlighted again. All right, so the next setting you're going to see here is pitch range. And this is going to set how far the slider of the pitch can move. So here is going to be 50. That's going to be the maximum amount. So let's go back here, show you an example. I'm going to start playing the song, and once again, I'm just going to increase the tempo. All right, so we're at +6.
I got to get my fix and fly tonight. And when the clock strikes
+10.
on Friday night, I'm gonna blow it all away. I can't wait.
All right, so as you can see, I pushed the tempo all the way up, and it's at plus 50. So the pitch range right here is going to match how far you can move this slider up and down. So in this case, plus or minus 50. And that's going to be the percent of pitch adjustment. So just remember here that the longer your pitch range, the less precise your fader is going to be. So think of it like zooming out on a large map. A tiny little movement covers a much larger distance. So for me, I just keep it at the default for 50. One thing that you can do in order to adjust this manually on the fly is you can hold down Shift on your controller, and then there's a tempo range. It's going to be the master and beat sync button right on your controller. You can hold Shift, go up and down, and that is going to also change the pitch range. So in this example, I was holding Shift and I was pressing the beat sync button on my left deck here. And that took it from minus 50 to minus 8. So I'm still holding Shift, and if I click Master on my left deck, you're going to notice that it goes back to allowing me to change this amount. So that's one way to go ahead and do that manually on the controller. Me personally, I just like to keep mine on plus 50 because I just feel like it's going to give me the range that I need. So, if I need to mix a song that's slow with one that's really fast, I can do that. Although I don't have as much precise control, but I can always just go ahead and adjust that manually on my controller. All right, so the next option that you see here is auto pitch range. So this is going to automatically increase the pitch range for you when you're beat matching or you're pressing sync. And think of it kind of like a little safety net. All right, so let's show you an example of that. So in this example, we have a track over here that's 125 beats per minute. On the other side, we have one that's 95 beats per minute. And since I have set my pitch range to 8%, it can only go up or down 8%. So if I was trying to beat match this track to this track, and I tried to go up, as you can see, plus 8 is not going to be enough to get to 125. It's just going to get me to 103 beats per minute, which is not enough of a range here in order for it to beat match. So with auto pitch range set on, I can click sync, and now all of a sudden it's going to be able to jump up to 125 because it automatically adjusted this range for my pitch slider. So VirtualDJ automatically expands the range of that so that it can make the adjustment. And honestly, I've never found a reason why you wouldn't want to have that enabled. So I think it's a good recommendation to keep it on. All right, so the next option is going to be pitch reset speed. So this is how fast the pitch fader is going to reset once you click the reset button. So I'm going to go in and adjust this so that we change the value from 1 to 20. And I want you to pay attention to how fast this slider moves once I click this pitch reset button. So put it all the way up, click the pitch reset, and that goes pretty fast. Now if I go back, change this again to 1, you will notice a difference of how fast this slider gets back to its reset point. It's much slower. If I double click, it goes right back to 0 immediately. And so for me, I recommend just leaving it at the default at 1 second. The reason is because it allows you to use this pitch reset button here and potentially have both songs sync together and sync lock, and allows you to gradually put the reset there so that you can have both songs playing and it won't be too much of a noticeable difference as opposed to if it was really quick like that. The crowd would definitely notice that. But this, a lot slower. So I like to just keep it at the default. So why does this matter? If you're using sync on certain controller functions that automatically reset the pitch, this is going to determine whether that reset is abrupt or gradual. And so I keep mine at the default of 1 second just because It's fast enough and kind of allows me to use it if I were live mixing without it sounding too noticeable. So here's something a lot of newer DJs don't realize. Changing beats per minute, or BPM, and changing the key of a song are two completely separate things. Master tempo locks the key, but if you actually want to change the key of a song for harmonic mixing, you will use the key controls instead, which are right here. But we're going to cover those in another episode. So now your jog wheels, your pitch slider, and your tempo controls should make a lot more sense. In the next episode, we're going to be going into the EQ and stem settings. We are going to cover the different EQ modes. We're going to talk about dual EQ modes and stem bleed settings, and some other settings that can change how stems sound during a live mix. So we'll see you there.